Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope you are all doing well. So, on today's episode, we are going to be covering a unique article that was sent in from a subscriber, and this is something that we really haven't talked about on the channel before, but it is titled "A New Study Identifies an Increasing Disinterest in Fatherhood Among Childless Men in the United States." So, basically, not only are men opting out of things like marriage, long-term relationships, hell, society in general, but men are also apparently opting out of things like fatherhood. Now, guys, I will say this. I know a lot of dudes out there really want to have a family, are interested in having children, but unfortunately, guys, the West is not a safe place for men to do this. And this, in my view, guys, is the biggest reason, or at least one of the biggest reasons, why a lot of dudes are not interested in becoming fathers, is because you can get screwed over for doing so. You can go out there, you can have your kids, you can have your family, but you know, at the end of the day, you run the risk of the government simply stepping in because the woman doesn't want to deal with you anymore, taking your kids, taking your assets, and taking your life and future income away from you. So this article is written by a woman named Emily Manis in the year 2022. So it's a very recent article. So we're going to jump in and see what it has to say. For most people throughout time, the idea of an ideal future included starting a family. Currently, over 1/3 of American men have no children, prompting the question of why. A study published in the Journal of Marriage and Family suggests that this is partially due to an increasing disinterest in fatherhood. You know what, guys? You know what incentivizes a disinterest in fatherhood? An obscene amount of risk. When you have things like the family law courts, the divorce courts basically saying, hey, we don't want to, as the government, we don't want to pay for these children, right? We don't want to pay for these single mothers. So what we're going to do is we're going to incentivize women to break up with men because they get a paycheck at the end of it. And then all of a sudden, everyone wonders, why are men backing out of things like marriage? Why are men backing out of things like fatherhood? Which, guys, to me, this is actually quite a sad article. Because again, I do know that a lot of dudes are interested in having a family. And a lot of the times the question comes up, look, should I just move to another country? Should I just move somewhere where the dating scene isn't so terrible? And if I want to have kids, I'm not going to get screwed over by the law. This is something that a lot of dudes are looking into. I know a lot of guys are moving to like Southeast Asia and stuff like that to find wives, girlfriends, and mothers for their children. So let's continue. Fertility rates ebb and flow due to many factors, including socioeconomic stability and cultural norms. In recent years, economic uncertainty and a decreasing focus on a traditional family unit seem to have led to the decrease in birth rates, which is of concern to many people due to the fact that America's birth rate is now below the replacement level. Most research on family planning and fertility focuses on women, but the new research sought to understand the perspective of childless men. You know what else they're forgetting to mention in this article here, guys, is a little thing called hypergamy. Okay, a lot of girls at their fingertips are able to date, and I say quote unquote date, but basically just sleep with dudes who are way out of their price range. That is to say, girls have an obscene amount of options out here in modern day dating, guys. And what this really means is that a lot of guys who are quote unquote normal or who have their solid jobs, they have good morals and things like these, average men are being overlooked because women feel as though they're entitled to a guy who is quote unquote so much more than, I don't know, boring old Bob that she can find over, you know, at the local pub. Okay, a lot of girls are basically saying, look, I only want the top guy. I don't want a plumber, I don't want an electrician, I want an educated, classy, intelligent, tall, tattooed man who's going to whisk me away, because they can get these options on dating applications. The problem is they can't have relationships with these men. A lot of these men are not interested in having families, and the guys who are out there who actually are interested in these things also are being overlooked. So of course a lot of guys aren't having families because a lot of men also are just straight up invisible to women. They literally don't care about the average guy. You know, back in the day, guys used to be able to go out there, you could be an average dude and you could get a girlfriend, you could get a wife, whatever the case may be. But now girls seem to only have eyes for the top percentage of men, which is coming around to bite them in the backside when they get to 30 and they are looking for a family. Let's continue with the article here. For his study, Robert Bozic utilized data from three sources: the National Survey of Family Growth, the Monitoring the Future Study, and the Panel of Study of Income Dynamics Transition to Adulthood Supplement. All data was focused on the years 2000 to 2020. Bozic utilized data from 18,000 American men from the National Survey of Family Growth, which included questions about if participants see themselves having children in the future and how much it would bother them if they never had children. The Monitoring the Future study focused on high school seniors and asked them what number of children they would have and how likely they were to want children. The Panel Study of Income Dynamics Transition to Adulthood Supplement examined men aged 18 to 28. Bozic used data from 6 Waves, asking about the importance of family leave as an aspect of their jobs for participants. Results showed that over the past 2 decades, the interest in having children among childless men has decreased. In fact, the number of men reporting that they do not want children at all doubled during this time frame. Now, guys, granted, they are asking, younger men, but the fact that this has doubled in this time frame, you have double the amount of men who are saying, you know what, I don't really want to have children. Guys, people often come to me and they ask questions like when you're talking about these sorts of things, do you think the younger generation is really listening? The dudes who are going to high school, the young guys. And to that, I say absolutely yes. A lot of the young guys, they will see men out here go through court and be accused of things simply because they looked at a woman the wrong way. They see dudes get screwed over in marriage. They watch their fathers get forced out of the family unit. All of these sorts of things are going on. And a lot of the young dudes are actually wising up and saying, I'm not particularly interested in having a family. I don't want to have kids. Maybe way later in life when I can travel somewhere else or do something else to negate all of the negative effects. Let's keep going. Similarly, men reported they wouldn't be bothered if they never had kids doubled. Among high school seniors, the percentage of people who were confident they did not want children remained steady, while the percentage of people reporting that they were very likely to want kids decreased. Additionally, the number of men reporting that it is very important to them that their job has a good parental leave decreased between 2005 and 2015. This study took important steps into better understanding the trends occurring in regards to fatherhood. Despite this, there are some limitations to note. One such limitation is that this study was only able to track descriptive trends and cannot truly answer why we are seeing these patterns. Guys, to me, it's fairly obvious why a lot of dudes are not interested in engaging in things like these. Like, we have seen so many stories, guys, of families being broken apart by women because they're incentivized to do so. Now, I will say this, not every girl is going to, break up her family or ruin the life of the children by removing the father or whatever the case may be. The problem is that women have the ability to do these things. This is the point that I've made on many episodes, guys. Not every girl is going to screw you over, take you for your resources, take you for your kids. The problem simply is that every woman has the ability to do this. Every woman has the ability to put in a complaint about you, say that you're creepy and you did something you didn't do, and before you know it, your life is ruined. So the young guys, even though they're taught by predominantly female teachers who indoctrinate them, let's be honest, into things like womanism, a lot of the guys still see this stuff. A lot of them are on TikTok. They see a lot of, I hesitate to use the word manosphere content creators, go over on TikTok and they see these dudes and they see all these issues, all this commentary being provided. And a lot of the young guys are saying, look, I'm not really interested. Let's continue. The descriptive trends documented in this brief report clearly show that childless men are increasingly shying away from fatherhood, but the question remains why? Bozic wrote in his study, without directly addressing this question, the contemporary research landscape of family formation and family planning is incomplete. On the heels of COVID-19, P-word, and a longer-term decline in fertility rates, new questions have emerged regarding what considerations are most relevant to couples making decisions about having children, with an eye towards ensuring that couples have a broad array of options to plan for the families they so desire. Men in general, but childless men in particular, have received little attention in these scholarly conversations about family planning. Should the trends observed here continue, attempts at boosting fertility rates will need to consider what factors are driving this increasing disinterest among childless men. Bozic wrote, a logical next step is for the family researchers to identify these factors, be they structural, evolutionary, cultural, or biological. Pretty interesting article here, guys. What do you guys think? Make sure to leave your thoughts and your comments. But before you guys, I had a bit of a Reddit article that I was going to pull up and show you about what exactly happens and what is the result of situations like these. Okay, so let's take a look at this Reddit story here. We have a woman who is in her 30s. And guys, this is the point where a lot of women, this is the point in their life where they say, look, I want to settle down. I want to have a family. And unfortunately for these women, these are the ones who are going to be affected, guys, because they're running out of fathers. They're running out of guys who actually want to have children with them. They're running out of men who actually want to start a family, who actually care about them, because a lot of guys are saying, I'm not really interested in having a family. It's too much of a risk. If I do it, I'm going to go do it overseas. So why would I date and why would I have children with a girl who is pushing her 30s? So take a look at this story here. I, a 30-year-old female woman, broke up with a somewhat new boyfriend who is in his late 30s. Everything was great, except he doesn't want kids. That led us to ending our relationship. I am broken to pieces. He said he wants to remain friends, but I said no. A few close friends said that he could end up changing his mind when the relationship gets stronger. I love how a lot of these situations, girls will say things like, I wish that men would communicate. But when a guy clearly expresses that he doesn't want kids or he has some sort of other boundary or something that he's not willing to do, all of a sudden in a lot of girls' minds, it seems to be negotiable. Like, oh, maybe if I get in a relationship with him, 2 years down the line, I might change his mind. Like, why on earth you would go into a relationship seeking to change people, particularly their core beliefs around certain issues, is absolutely beyond me. She says, is it bad that I ended it? Any advice is greatly appreciated. She says that she also considered that if he fell in deep love, he would want the child to share with the woman he adores. Sometimes, when you've never experienced love, you might think that you don't want kids, but when you're truly madly, deeply in love, can't that change? Yeah, why can't I just change men? Why can't we just snap our fingers, guys, and try and make men have children with us, even though a lot of guys are saying that they are not interested in doing so? Let's continue. I think I didn't word my previous edit properly. What I meant was more along the lines of, well, maybe you can have a change of heart when you're in love and you decide you would want to share a child with this person and build a family. I am in no way trying to manipulate him. I understand he doesn't want kids and I won't pressure him. Also, he's not against kids. He just doesn't want his own biological kids. Adoption and fostering are options for him. I just want to give birth to at least one child. And I am also open to adopting. I wouldn't love the idea of going to a sperm bank, but I would accept it in order to respect his wishes. So this is a bit of a unique case. The guy is not against kids per se. He just doesn't want to have them with this particular woman. But guys, notice how when girls go into their 30s, they start to enter into this concerned phase where now all of a sudden it's important that they have kids, where now all of a sudden it's important she gets a ring, and when these things don't happen, well, the world is just so upside down. And guys, to answer the question that was posed in the article, you know, really why men are not interested in doing these things, I have another Reddit story that I want to show you guys, okay? And this is what I mean when I say that the dating scene is not conducive to having families. Okay, so when you say things like, man, why aren't men going out here and having children? Why don't men want to have kids? The problem is that even if men do want to have kids, the dating situation is so abhorrent that you literally can't even have them in good conscience because you know your family is going to get broken up. Take this story, for example, guys. Literally posted 19 hours ago. It is titled, Accepting That You'll Never Know the Truth. And this is written by a dude who says, 2 months ago, my girlfriend left me because she didn't think she could make me happy. 2 weeks later, I discovered that she was at the very least having an emotional affair / monkey branching. She had booked a weekend away with the guy 2 days before we broke up. She said she had feelings for him before the breakup, but that was nothing to do with why it happened. Of course, she denied that he has anything to do with the breakup, but the last couple of months she had shown all the signs of checking out and seeing someone else. Like a weekend away, and instead of staying with friends, she booked a hotel. She started keeping her phone under her pillow at night and was on it constantly in the evenings, but I trusted her implicitly, so all of her reasons for the above seemed legitimate. More fool me. 2 months later, I can't get it out of my head. I tell myself it's because I've been left to piece it all together, and my mind can't relax until I know what's going on, how long it was going on for, etc. Guys, before we finish up this little Reddit story here, I just want to explain something real quick. If you're a dude and you're going out there dating and you meet a new woman, okay, you're fresh into a relationship, please understand that in all likelihood, particularly out here in the West, that woman has a roster of dudes. She's probably seeing her ex-boyfriend on the side here and there. She's with men before you have met her. So a lot of guys find out the hard way that, you know what, when they get into a relationship with a woman, she still has options that she's keeping around the side. She's still looking to monkey branch. She's still looking to replace. And this is why a lot of guys are truthfully not interested in anything approximating long-term commitment. Because guys just get thrown out, guys get treated like crap, guys get cheated on so incredibly often. And girls will say the same thing, okay? Girls will come and say, look, men cheat on me too. Like, why can't I find a guy who's not going to cheat on me? The problem is women are all competing for a small select group of men. They are more likely to cheat. By definition, they are more likely to cheat because they have all of these options. I will say this, guys. Men and women, both genders, do absolutely cheat. The problem is that the men at the top and women in general, the amount of options that they both have mean that they cheat very, very often. I don't care what anyone says, guys. Like, to be honest with you, the infidelity rates these days are just absolutely astounding. So let's finish the story here. I do know that I'll never find out, but I'm having real trouble reconciling that fact. Also having trouble reconciling the fact that she isn't the person that I thought she was, or more accurately, the person I wanted her to be. How do I move on? My answer to this question is simply go to the gym and understand that a lot of girls, unfortunately, at least out here in the West, are going to be like this if you're a dude who is choosing to date. But guys, we are going to be leaving today's episode there. As always, remember to leave your thoughts and your comments, guys. What do you think about a lot of dudes, opting to not be fathers these days? Do you guys think that it's perfectly understandable? Do you think it's sad? Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's a bad thing? Make sure to leave your comments and your thoughts. And as always, guys, make sure that you take care of yourselves. And I'll be seeing you all in the next episode. Peace.